Hey, welcome back to the Dancing with My Mother YouTube channel. My name is Sheree Costa. I thought today I'd talk a little bit about why I made this channel and give you some of my backstory. But before I do that, please subscribe and like, comment and share, because this is how my content will be seen by those it can possibly help. So I was a former principal dancer with the Australian Ballet and also a featured dancer with the Sydney Dance Company, both obviously here in Australia. I also performed in professional musicals as both actor and dancer, appeared in a few feature films, the most recent being the Deb for the incredible Rebel Wilson. And I've also done some guest appearances as an actor on TV shows such as The Bump for Stan TV. Anyway, stuff like that. That's enough of me. So let's move on to the subject at hand. In 2020, my youngest son, Joey, took his life. He was only age 27. But I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is Joey himself and what he was like. He was an incredible actor. He loved to write anything from plays to short form, long form stories. He loved to make film content. He was one of the funniest people you could ever meet, and everybody says that. And he was scarily smart as well. He was, in a word, charismatic. On the negative side, Joe sometimes liked to live on the edge, like a lot of people do at that age. And at age 17, he discovered LSD. And at that age, they just don't have any filter, especially if they're a bit adventurous in that way. So they just go for it, which is what Joe did. That led to experimentation of different kinds of LSD, and one of these experiments was with a drug called LSA. Now, one can definitely say this experiment was not done under controlled conditions. To this point, he thought he was bomb-proof, but one dose of LSA was how his journey with hallucinogen, persisting perception disorder, commenced, and HPPD is, of course, what it's commonly referred to. After 10 years of no abatement from not only his visual symptoms and with all his career aspirations up in smoke, torn apart, he was just exhausted. And so, here we are. So with the film called Dancing with My Mother, I wanted to make a tribute in some way to my son and the magic that he brought into my life, despite all the challenges. And with an enormous contribution from Lunacraft Productions, this little idea of a dance tribute for my son blossomed into an award-winning short film of such beauty and magic, it'll take your breath away. So please do check that out, and I will post the link at the end of this video. But I also wanted to document my journey with Joey in a more honest and open way by writing a book. When I first started researching HPPD, and indeed to this day, I was not able to find even one book that talked about having a loved one who was going through this. In other words, not as some kind of research paper, but from the viewpoint of the enormous emotional impact it had not only on Joey, but on the entire family and on his aspirations for his own future. I know if I had my Joey with me now, we'd have done so many things differently to help him. The beauty of hindsight. But what I can do with that hindsight is to get this book finished, published, and out there to hopefully be some kind of resource for others with loved ones who are going through not just something like HPPD, but grappling with lost dreams and are not sure which way to turn. That's not to say this book is a how-to. It will be most likely more of a how not to. Like I said, good old hindsight. You do your absolute best as a parent, and that's all we know at the time. And unfortunately for Joe and his family, HPPD was a very mysterious disorder, and to some extent still is. There's not enough full-blown studies on it yet. Why is that? Because it occurs because of drug use. So that carries a stigma, and for the people who have it, they carry an unhealthy attachment to shame. That's just the way it is. I have no idea how to change that, but I do know that right now I can advocate in a different way, not as some kind of expert in life or HPPD or addictions or risky behavior. No, none of that. I can only advocate as a parent who has lived experience with a son who had HPPD and other related issues. And the only way that I can see to do that is to write a book, and to write it honestly, which, by the way, will be called Dancing with My Mother, at least for now. With that in mind, I think my next lot of video content on this channel will involve me reading excerpts from the book, just occasionally and not too many, but I'd like to see how it sounds read out loud, and if you, the viewer, find it engaging. Let's see how that goes. Okay, if you could please do the like, subscribe, comment thing, that'd be amazing. And if you want to share, please go right ahead. That's it from me for now. Till the next content drop, I'll see you then.